determination, and excellence. Today, we stand on the threshold of one of the most challenging exams in the world, the National Eligibility Cum Entrance Test, also called as NEET. As we embark on this journey together, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to each one of you for joining us from various corners of the globe, united by a common goal to conquer NEET and pave the way for the brighter future in field of medicine. To our viewers across social media platforms like Zoom, YouTube, and Facebook, your presence amplifies our spirit, reminding us that we are not alone in this pursuit of excellence. Once again, welcome to the NEET webinar. Today's discussion focuses on planning, preparation, guideline, and more. Joining us is Mr. Subramaniam Rangineni, CEO of Rockwoods Junior College, to shed some light on NEET examination. I'm your host, Vedashri, a proud alumni of Rockwoods International School and also a junior college. Welcome, sir. To kick things off, can you explain what NEET is and the eligibility criteria to appear in this examination?
Sure, Veda. Thank you very much having me in this show. Very good evening, everyone. NEET stands for National Eligibility Cum Entrance Test. This is the single exam that is conducted across all over India in order to give the undergraduation courses in medical stream. We have a lot of medical courses like MBBS, BDS, dental, and then Ayush and Ayurved and veterinary. A lot of all medical courses. If a child wanted to pursue undergraduation under medical courses, they must take up NEET examination in order to get into the medical courses in any university in India. Back to you, Veda.
So NEET, or National Eligibility Cum Entrance Test, is a competitive test for administration. It's like an entrance test for students who want to do undergraduation in medicine, right? So could you please elaborate on the subjects covered in this NEET exam?
Sure, Veda. So there are majorly three subjects that are covered as part of this competitive examination, and first subject is biology, and this subject is broadly divided into two: botany and zoology. And the second subject is physics, and third one is chemistry. And children should have had these three subjects as part of their 11th and 12th in order to take up this examination towards end of their 12th grade.
So as we are clear with the subjects, can you please shed some light on the pattern of the question paper and how we can achieve a good score?
Sure, Veda. And this exam, you will have 200 questions, and they are divided into 4 parts. Three subjects. Biology typically, most of the colleges would treat as botany and zoology. So for botany and zoology put together, you will have 100 questions, and these 100 questions are divided into 2 sections, and section 1 and section 2. So under section 1, you will have 70 questions which you can answer, and under section 2, you will have 30 questions, and you can attempt up to 20 questions. So botany and zoology put together, you will have 100 questions, and you can attempt overall up to 90 questions. Whereas physics, you will have again 50 questions, which is divided into two sections. Section 1 you will have 35, and section 2 you will have 15. And in section 2 you can attempt up to 10 questions. And chemistry also same as physics. Section 1 you will have 35 questions. You can attempt 35. And section 2 you will have 15 questions where you can attempt up to 10 questions. And remember, if I do total, you will have overall 200 questions, and out of these 200 questions you can attempt up to 180 questions. And for every correct answer you will be given 4 marks, and every wrong answer there is going to be a negative 1 mark. And if you don't attempt, obviously you will not get any mark, and you will not also end up losing marks for that. So meaning accuracy is going to be very, very, very important factor while writing NEET examination. So as far as how many marks one must score, if I look at 180 questions and 4 marks, it is going to be overall 720 marks. So qualifying criteria for last 2 years, if you look at somewhere around 109, 108 to 115, that is typically the qualifying score. That also would vary based on the caste that you might belong to. Whatever that I mentioned, it is for open category. And if you wanted to get in reputed, premier, medical colleges, obviously you need to score really well, over 500 plus. And if you're looking at, AIMS kind of institutes, you should look at scoring somewhere around 670 to 680 plus. So that is a typically, the qualifying, scoring and overall pattern as far as the NEET is concerned.
So here we have a couple of questions from the viewers. So let's take one by one. I think the first question that I'll be taking, I think it's from a student. How many questions does a student need to answer correctly to secure a seat, considering the cutoff marks?
All right. So I think a few minutes back, I talked a little bit on that. If you belong to open category and 500 plus is a safe score. So in order to score 500, you need to answer out of 180 odd questions that you have. So 100 and odd questions would put you under safe bucket. 100 and odd to 110 questions would put you on the safe bucket. Again, if you're looking at premier prestigious institute, you should look at scoring somewhere around 150 plus questions, so that your score is really very good, and you'll be able to get into your dream college or university.
Our next question is, I am guessing it's from a parent, because why is having access to a good faculty crucial for NEET preparation?
So by now, I think you might have understood, NEET is one of the toughest exam, definitely in India. Not only in India, I would say one of the toughest exam in the world. Given the number of questions that you have, 200 we talked about, and children need to, try to solve these questions over a period of 3 hours, 20 minutes. So, and there are, 20 plus lakh children will be attempting this exam, and, number of seats are somewhere around 90,000 to 1 lakh. So the competition is pretty intense, and for that reason, preparation is very important. Preparation would be effective if college is having very good faculty. And this exam has evolved over a period of time, right? So they have varied nature of questions, and difficulty level also will be very high. And they will also thoroughly evaluate child conceptual understanding. If a child has to attempt these type of questions, if there are good faculty in the college, that faculty would be able to deliver the concepts seamlessly, and they utilize their experience in order to make children to understand the concepts much deeper. And children also would be exposed to wide variety of question types, and a lot of questions which have been covered in previous years. And I have seen many children also feel a little tensed, and a lot of anxiety factors will be there. And if it is experienced faculty, if it is expert faculty, they also help children to come out of such kind of situations. So faculty would play very, very, very crucial and major role in ensuring children see success in such kind of intense competitive examination. And at our college, we are privileged to have such kind of faculty who seamlessly deliver and ensure children see success NEET kind of examinations every year after year.
Thank you, sir. And the next question, I think, is a follow-up of the question that you answered just now. That is, what is the significance of infrastructure, classroom layout in NEET preparation?
Sure, Veda. I think there are a very good number of institutes, all over India who are, coaching children on NEET examination. Demand is, such. But apart from faculty, I would say the next, very, important factor I would say is infrastructure. Remember, when children are preparing, NEET kind of examination, they will be sitting for very long, number of hours, for preparation. And the seating is going to be, would play a very major role. And children who have comfortable seating in the classroom, children who have good, ventilated, where light condition is pretty good, such kind of classrooms would help children to prepare examination, without any distractions. And apart from that, and digital kind of classrooms would help faculty members to deliver the concepts in short span of time. And libraries and labs also play crucial role. Instead of faculty members explaining by drawing, by multiple ways and means, if they conduct experiments in the lab, children not only understand that concept, but it is also going to be registered in their mind for very long time. And once they understand the concept, for children to be able to answer any type of question would become much easier. And one more factor as part of infrastructure, I would say would play a very major role is, rather than making children to sit in front of the faculty members and make them listen to faculty members throughout the day. Good institutes, what they do is, they allow children to, go out and, play for, 30, 40 minutes of time, and meditate, and, make them children play in the ground and, perform something like yoga. All of that would help children to sit long hours and also focus concretely during the preparation time. All such kind of facilities, we have at Rockwoods Junior College. And this kind of environment would create very conducive for learning, so that children will be able to perform much better, in comparison, when they are in other institutes.
Thank you, sir. Yet another question. What student must do to prepare effectively for NEET? What is the way?
All right. I think there are many factors that would influence children to prepare effectively. With our experience, I can definitely tell some pointers at this point of time. The first thing is children listening to the expert and experienced faculty. In order to understand the concept much better is very, very, very important first step, I would say. And apart from listening to faculty members, regularly, they must also practice. Good institutes have, steady hours, within their, campus timings, and making use of those steady hours, clarifying the doubts, by the lecturers, and also, after going home, after college, utilizing, couple of hours time to read, to practice whatever has been discussed at the campus on that day. And throughout the preparation, NEET kind of, competitive exam preparation would typically happen, in 11th and 12th. That is 2 long years. Throughout the preparation, preparation must be consistent, 10 to 12 hours every day. Not like, one day leaving it out completely, one day sitting for 18 hours kind of effort is not typically recommended. And apart from consistently preparing, taking care of health also would contribute heavily in, in NEET examination success. Having good sleep, having good food, and, little exercise, as I mentioned, and writing mock tests. And right after writing mock tests, able to analyze the questions, especially which child could not attempt or which child has made mistakes. So maintaining that error analysis after every exam, and based on all these, the more the practice that you can do, the better you can perform. And all of these are little pointers, little strategies that one must follow in order to see that their preparation is very effective and impactful, and for assured and guaranteed success.
Thank you, sir. I think we have another doubt from a viewer. What's the ideal time frame for preparation of NEET? As we come across people saying that, we should start from 6th grade, 8th grade, and 10th grade, and so on. What's your take on it?
All right. So definitely, a student who wanted to have a good track at NEET examination, they must dedicate at least 2 years of time. Their 11th and 12th are going to be very crucial, and consistently, if you put effort, for 2 years, it would definitely yield good result. But also don't forget, and there are cases where some parents and some institutes, they force children to study, all the way from early grades. And especially from grade 6th, 7th onwards, I would say we don't have to really push the child too hard, at that early stage. Rather, make child to focus on academics and continue to read NCERT kind of books, with little extra focus on science and math kind of subjects. That way, when child comes to 11th grade, they have concrete conceptual understanding of whatever content is there until grade 10, so that they can take it to next level through thorough preparation during their 11th and 12th. So they don't have to worry too much during schooling time. Rather, put a little extra time for science and math subject and take it really deep, when they come into 10th and 11th, so that with 2 years of preparation, you can have very good success in the NEET examination.
Thank you, sir. I think we have an interesting question here. How does preparation stage look like 6 months before exam, and what should their ideal schedule be like? Can you suggest some effective strategies for better preparation?
Sure, I think I have covered good number of strategies and things a student can do. But I also would like to highlight certain factors what a child can do. If I have to answer you, where you have mentioned what is that a child can do in 6 months, in last 3 months, right? So as I talked before, it is very important a child doing planning for minimum of 2 years, right? So consistent effort for 2 years of duration would yield very good result. But during the 2 years of time, having good goals, incremental goals, every week on week, month on month, maybe after 1 year, where you stand, how you're performing, what subjects that you are doing really good, and what subjects that you have have a problem where you need to focus. With all of that, typically, with 1.5 year, you would have come to pretty good shape. And last 6 months, especially towards last 3 months, I would say one must focus majorly writing the grant test, and those grant tests also. Good institutes would do lot of planning in terms of year one they divide into two parts, and year two they divide into two parts. And after writing those 4 exams, again entire year one, plus one you'll write one grant test, and plus two you'll write one more grant test, and then you write both years together, you write as a grant test, and then only consisting of previous year questions you write a grant test. And there are lot of grant test question papers that you can adapt from various different institutes, so that you are not relying on just one institute. Rather, you are being tested by the way how the other institutes also preparing the question papers. So all of these kind of strategies during the last leg preparation would immensely benefit a student who wanted to see very good success in the NEET exam.
Thank you, sir. I think it's we have an important question. I feel like every student out there preparing for NEET should have this question, at least wondering about this. It is, can you please critically reflect upon a common errors done by students during NEET preparation?
Sure, I would say this is one of the very important question.
Yes.
When children join in their 11th, any institute for that matter, they will have a lot of energy in terms of, this I wanted to achieve, right? So, continuing that energy throughout the 2 years would really help, right? But during the course of these 2 years, I have seen many students, committing certain mistakes. The first mistake I would say is, children tend to, wait. Let's wait for year one to complete, right? Let's wait the entire syllabus to complete so that I will start preparation. That game is not going to help any child. From day one, as I mentioned, consistently put effort, right? So first mistake children do is they wait rather than immediately start acting on preparation. And second type of mistake what I have seen many of the children is they there are certain children they continue to shift, certain times they depend on the institution faculty members, especially during the classes are going and all that. Once syllabus is done, they tend to shift to, okay, let me make use of online platform. Let me make use of, this source, where I have heard, one of my friend telling, use this. And, one more faculty would tell, use that. See, trying to keep shifting gears would really not help. As a student, you trust one institute, you trust one type of material, and you continue to prepare, using those resources that you have at your hand, right? And repeat those. And once you have done that, yes, then you can refer to multiple publications. And after you have completing, one round of preparation given by at your institute. And one more mistake that I have seen children doing is they tend to stick to home, and they tend to write and read and all that. So that way they typically will not understand whether they are preparing very well or not. See, as a child, you will be able to understand only when your performance is compared with others. Remember, this is a competitive examination. Sometimes, 550 is a very good score. Sometimes 550 is not a good score, because, it depends on the type of, difficulty level that you have. So comparative analysis, that competition, is very important. For that, you being part of the institute, you being part of taking the expertise and experience of the faculty until last day of the examination would really help you. And one more mistake I have seen is children not referring to NCERT books, right? So if you look at last 2 to 3 years of NEET papers, the questions are very, 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 very clear. They are directed to evaluate child, conceptual understanding, and they are not coming beyond NCERT, right? They tell, sometimes children go overboard in terms of preparing very difficult level, which are not even part of NCERT, right? So throughout your preparation, you would have had a good material, undoubtedly, no issues. But you must keep referring to NCERT and keep reading them, and keep discussing with your faculty members, your friends, and all of that typically would help. I have seen children not doing that. These are some of the mistakes. But all in all, these kind of mistakes can be avoided if children are in good, safe, hands, good management, good experienced and expert faculty, and if institutes have counselor kind of facility, all such kind of things we have at Rockwoods Junior College. So we really handhold children, so we ensure children are not committing such kind of mistake at our institute.
Thank you, sir. I think we'd rather have a technical question. What changes have been made in the revised NEET syllabus? Or I would put it in that way, that how can you get the updated syllabus?
Before answering that question, I think there is a parent, I'm not sure, or a student. I think they keep pushing a question. Let me answer that, Veda. So I think they wanted to know, how much score should I secure in order to pursue, undergraduation in medical colleges abroad. So if you wanted to, go abroad and pursue, and nowadays in India, medical seat has become very costly affair, and abroad has become much cheaper. In fact, I would say this is really a viable option. If children wanted to pursue their medical degrees, if they have a passion, So in order to go to abroad also, one must qualify NEET examination, right? So, it can be, I think last year it was 108 or 109 is a qualifying score. if they are crossing that, if they're qualified in the NEET examination, they are good enough to apply for abroad, universities. But always, better score would, benefit you in terms of having good scholarships, and you can also demand, and to minimize the cost. So it is very important to prepare well and score well. That would help not only in India, even if you're looking for abroad kind of colleges. Now, let me come back to your question. Can you repeat one more time, Veda?
Sure, sir. What changes have been made in the revised NEET syllabus, or I would put it that way, that since NEET syllabus, especially for competitive exams, it's updated every single year. It changes. It's not the same thing that it was last year. So how does a student get updated with what exactly they need to prepare for?
Sure. So, in terms of syllabus, as you mentioned, time to time, they do change. You can refer to NTA NEET website, and always you rely on that source. Don't ever refer to any other websites. The accurate information can be located over there. But one thing that I can say is, typically, NEET exam is conducted by NTA, right? National Testing Agencies. And when they release the syllabus, when they conduct exam, not only for NEET, any other kind of competitive exam that happen, especially for 12th graders, they must prepare thoroughly from NCERT. They typically pick the syllabus straight from NCERT. So, the bottom line is, from year one onwards, if you are mastering NCERT, and that would become huge advantage. Slight addition and subtractions from syllabus modifications, those happen sometimes. It will not be in your control. But what is going to be in your control is understand the NCERT syllabus that you have in 11th and 12th, and prepare for that thoroughly. That would help. And for syllabus changes and all that, rely on only NTA NEET website, no other source. Veda, there is one more question. Can I take that?
Sure.
So this parent is asking about, how many marks should I get in order to pursue AIMS colleges? So I would say 680 plus is a safe score. And there are some AIMS colleges where the number of years of experience batches would have been less. Maybe there sometimes you may get for 650, 660 also. But if it is open category, I think 680 plus is going to be a safe score. And it would vary based on category wise as well. But open category, I would say 670, 680 is a little safe score. And if you're looking at New Delhi kind of campus, AIMS, I think 710, 700 and plus is the minimum score what a student must get.
Sure. Coming back to my question, or I would rather call it a concern of every other student who actually attended NEET or who actually want to attend NEET, because the question is, how do students effectively manage time during a lengthy exam? Because that's a concern for sure.
I think even the NEET recent exam that children have taken, most of the children have felt question paper was lengthy. And the reason for that is, I think there are a lot of statement-based questions, matching-based questions. So it would become really challenge for children to read and attempt 180 kind of questions, in 3 hours, 20 minutes. So, in order to be able to, address this issue, what a student should do, or the institutes like ours, what we do is, we not only focus on the core subjects like botany, zoology, physics and chemistry, subject matter experts and subject-based faculty members. I'm sure they will have enough expertise and experience to deliver, make children to understand. But in the exam, as you mentioned, there will be a situation where you know the answer, but it does take time where to understand it, to solve it, and and then bubble it in the OMR, right? So to address these, what we do is we coach our children in super reading kind of techniques. These techniques, would really help children to be able to read quickly, able to understand, comprehend it, what they have read quickly. So, not only this year, I think there are good number of, years I have seen questions were very lengthy, and sometimes it will run like 4 to 5 lines, and sometimes children they just leave it by looking at the length of that question itself. So if we can prepare children to be able to read very fast, right? For that there are some techniques, and repeatedly if you can make them practice that those techniques, and that would immensely benefit. And second thing also is there are good number of colleges, unfortunately, they teach in the native language. Children typically they attend the exam mostly in English, but the classroom teaching, doubt clarification, and back and forth they talk in the other language. That would really hamper in their performance overall, right? So it is very important to ensure classroom teaching, doubt clarification also happen in the same language in which they are also taking the exam in the medium, right? So at Rockwoods we do that, right? So these are all the typical 2 things one can try doing, so that they can complete reading 200 questions in 3 or 20 minutes, and able to make them attempt 180 questions within this time frame.
Thank you, sir. I guess we have one more question that you would want to answer in Q&A section.
Sure. Is MBBS valid in India after completion of MBBS in abroad? Yes, it is valid. All that you need to do after completion of MBBS in abroad is you have to come back here, and then you need to take up a small test, right? So that way, I know your MBBS is going to be valid in India. And there are many number of students who are pursuing abroad and coming back and writing exam. It's pretty much valid. So all that you need to ensure is prepare for that exam and clarify and get it done. That's it.
Back to the questions that I'm receiving. We have another important question. Sir, can you please explain the importance of regular revision and mock test in NEET preparation? Very important.
Yes, as you said, it is one of the important factors, and I also mentioned this as part of effectively preparing for NEET examination. Mock tests and play very important role, and every week you writing at least one mock test would greatly help a student, and right after mock test doing error analysis would help. That way, exam after exam, children become very strong, and conceptually they will be very, very, very confident. And before mock test, and having very good revision plan, right? So as I mentioned, even before that, listening to classes effectively, and reading those concepts, practicing those during study hours, and as syllabus is getting completed, revising it. There are certain things like if you look at chemistry, organic kind of concepts, regularly you must revise, right? It cannot happen once you mastering, and you leave it. I don't want to touch it for next couple of months, 3 months. It's not going to work out. You need to have a regular touch base. That can happen only through good revision techniques. And there are lot of techniques, if some faculty members are experts, institutes would have mastered it. All of that, would help children to prepare well, revise well, perform well in the mock test, and then eventually do error analysis and, have a good concept and, master the concepts and finally go to the exam and crack it very easily.
Thank you, sir. The next question, I would say it's a concern from a parent. How does Rockwoods Junior College address burnouts and stress among students from NEET first year or long term? Like, how do we deal with students?
Sure. I mean, see, it is pretty natural children, having little stress, especially if they don't manage it, if they don't do it consistently from all the way from beginning, right? But, it is very important to manage that stress and pressure, right? Good faculty members, good institutes, understand that and reach out to such kind of students and counsel them, right? Certain times, they don't, children, they don't even need to know that, faculty members are counseling for that reason, right? So if you understand the, scoring pattern of the child, especially, during the course of their 11th and 12th, last 3 months, if they have performed well, and towards approaching the NEET examination, if you see scoring going here and there, typically that is a factor, an indicator, where they feel some stress, and it is very important to address that. Sometimes we need to allow children to have their concerns expressed. It could be their own classmate, their friend, sometimes senior, sometimes faculty members, or sometimes counselor, sometimes even parent, right? So such kind of facility, liberty should be given to children. When we listen to children carefully, half of the problem is solved right then there, and and for every problem there is definitely going to be a solution, right? So this has to be done over a period of time, and talking to children, giving little liberty, understanding them, and that way it can be easily managed. And at Rockwoods we do that very diligently, very efficiently.
Thank you, sir. The next question is something I'm sure every student or a parent who want to attempt or give NEET has thought once in a while, have thought about this question: is long term worth it?
All right. I think if a child is really passionate about getting into medical field, I think no second thought, right? So give a shot, one more year. If child has a dream of getting into medical field, or he wanted to become a doctor, right? At times, I have seen my own friends and my own students where when they take 1 year, in first attempt, if they have not seen success in the taking long term, they thoroughly realized the mistake and they thoroughly prepared, and they have performed even much better than what they could have done right after their 12th. It would help as long as they are passionate about it. You don't have to worry about losing a year, and that you can cover it up scoring well and getting into good premier medical colleges. That way your career is going to be really strong, and you can cover your time over there.
So we have a question at a Q&A section.
All right. So don't hold me, but this is approximately in India we have over 1 lakh seats in MBBS. Approximately 50,000 seats are there in government colleges, and 50,000 seats are there in private colleges. And year on year, I think this number typically changes. This is the approximate number that we have at this point of time, and we also see a good trend, especially after pandemic. There has been a good shift in terms of establishing a lot of colleges across all over India. So this number we can definitely see, raising given the demand that we have for medical field, and also there is a need, for doctors, in India. So back to you, Veda.
Yes, sir. Thank you. That was a great answer. But I think something I would also want to mention, while I've been gone through so many questions that our viewers had, if I would say one to a student preparing for NEET, I would say it's a long process. Stay calm, stay steady, be constant. But I think at the same time, some advice that I've got from my friends who, you know, uh, attended NEET, I would say is that give yourself a treat once in a while, regardless of what result. You might be aiming for something very big. Maybe you haven't reached, but you were better than the last time that you have scored. So I still think that you should treat yourself, and just, sometimes I think finding a new hobby might also help these students, because I'm sure most of them are stressed out about how to cover the subject. But I think having some, other hobby other than reading the subjects is also very good and helpful for all the students who are trying to prepare. Yes, that's from my side that I would want to, students to just follow, I guess.
That's a great advice, Veda.
Thank you.
Reading would help a lot.
Hmm.
It's a good stress buster, and you will understand many things from other authors that would greatly help. I hope that's all, I guess.
Yes. Yep, I don't see any more questions, but I think parents are even more excited for our next webinar, hopefully. That is all for today's webinar. And for all the viewers from all the platforms, I suggest that if you like our session, please support us and please follow us in upcoming webinars that are even more interesting. Thank you for coming.